In the headlines of this hour on VTV News, Brazilian president begins state visit to Vietnam. Later on, Vietnam seeks fair trade balance in U.S. in the wood industry. And in a world news, European allies not united on armed deployment to Ukraine.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Good afternoon. It is currently 3 p.m. local time, and you're tuning in to 30 minutes of VTV News. I'm Dylan Lei with the latest updates. Now, on Friday morning, State President Lương Cường officially welcomed Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva for a state visit to Vietnam, the first foreign head of state to visit the country in 2025. A longtime supporter of Vietnam, President Lula had previously joined protests in solidarity during the country's fight for independence. In his welcoming remarks, State President Lương Cường highlighted the positive developments in bilateral relations and proposed increasing trade to $15 billion by 2030. Both leaders agreed on the importance of strengthening political, defense, and security ties while collaborating on global challenges. They also committed to enhancing economic cooperation, trade, investment, science and technology, and innovation. The Vietnamese state president thanked President Lula and the Brazilian government for recognizing Vietnam's market economy status, which will pave the way for robust trade relations between the two countries. Before a chip is integrated into a computer phone or car, it must undergo a crucial step, testing, which determines whether it meets quality standards. That is one of the final stages in the semiconductor production chain. In Vietnam, despite many operational factories, few domestic enterprises are capable of handling this process.
This is the first Vietnamese-owned enterprise among the 7 packaging and testing factories in Vietnam. The decision to invest in 3 semiconductor assembly, testing, and packaging factories was based on 2 key factors: policy and resources.
This is a strategic and sustainable direction, as the global market increasingly relies on Vietnam's role in this industry.
Experts say Vietnam has an advantage in semiconductor development, particularly in packaging and testing, compared to neighboring countries. To compete, Vietnam should focus on advanced packaging, a set of multi-chip packaging techniques allowing quicker market entry.
Training engineers in these skills will make it easier to develop semiconductor production in the future and attract investment more effectively.
Resolution 57's policies, including tax incentives, credit, finance, and land support, drive businesses to invest confidently. The goal is to have 5 Vietnamese companies capable of providing international standard packaging and testing services by 2030.
We hope that bold and effective policies are matched by decisive implementation. Only then can we achieve real results.
The semiconductor industry is a key pillar of Resolution 57 for high-tech development in Vietnam. However, progress will remain stagnant without a clear, unified policy. Vietnam risks staying a low-cost land rental hub rather than achieving its goal of developing technology and supply chains and becoming a regional supply center.
Vietnam is set to introduce a new policy supporting businesses that develop digital technologies through tax breaks and R&D incentives. The Ministry of Science and Technology will publish a list of strategic technologies by the end of March, followed by support mechanisms in May. The forthcoming Science and Technology Law draft will address existing challenges with a focus on helping businesses evolve from outsourcing to developing their own technology, a key strategy for Vietnam's sustainable growth in the digital era. Ho Chi Minh City is implementing various solutions to attract investors, particularly in high-tech and semiconductor sectors. As Vietnam's second-largest digital economy hub, the city has significant advantages for establishing a multi-purpose high-tech center. The center will integrate AI, big data, and semiconductor chip technologies to draw major global investors to the city.
The city's high-tech park is constructing a data center at this site that meets strict international standards, specifically designed to serve large-scale customers.
We have allocated land plots for transformer stations to support international data center investors. Staying proactive, we recently worked with a new investor looking to invest this year.
Businesses have assessed that Ho Chi Minh City offers key investment advantages, including available land plots, efficient site clearance and construction processes, and advanced development in digital economy and AI technology.
Incentives and policy support will improve accessibility and mobility. Investors will see that businesses, the private sector, and the government are all committed to providing support.
According to statistics, high-tech industries currently account for about 23% of Ho Chi Minh City's GRDP. The goal of increasing this to 40% by 2030, nearly doubling the current rate, presents significant challenges.
Internet of Things infrastructure investment is crucial for economic growth and accelerating the digital transition. We must also train a highly skilled workforce and build an ecosystem that integrates foreign enterprises with local human capital. This is key to sustainable development.
A key solution for attracting high-tech investment is the swift implementation of Resolution 57, which focuses on science and technology, innovation, and digital transformation. This implementation requires eliminating regulatory bottlenecks and developing a legal framework that creates competitive advantages for the sector.
Lego's factory in Bingzheng plans to hire 4,000 general laborers as part of a major expansion to meet growing demand for its iconic building blocks. The company is working with vocational schools to train workers and fill positions aligned with production needs. This development, the second largest foreign investment project in Bingzheng province, aims to set new sustainability standards in manufacturing through the use of renewable energy. The U.S. Department of Commerce has initiated investigations of wood products, including lumber and furniture, from all markets, including Vietnam, upon import into the U.S. These imports could potentially face a 25% tariff. However, Vietnam may avoid or reduce these tariffs by presenting a compelling case. To this end, businesses and wood industry associations are preparing data to support their case and demonstrate the Vietnamese wood sector's positive contribution to the U.S. market.
At this warehouse, red oak, white oak, walnut, and yellow pine are among the U.S. timber varieties being imported in large quantities by Vietnamese businesses for processing. According to company representatives, importing U.S. timber for processing and re-exporting helps expand U.S. forests and creates a trade surplus that benefits both businesses and the U.S. market.
In reality, Vietnam primarily focuses on processing, while U.S. companies hold the brand names and gain most of the profits from trading in the high-end furniture market and retail sales. The largest share of the trade surplus ultimately benefits U.S. businesses.
According to the Vietnam Timber and Forest Products Association, while the U.S. has abundant forest and timber resources, it faces challenges processing wood products due to high labor costs. Vietnam's wood industry fills this gap by providing a complementary manufacturing role, ensuring U.S. consumers can access high-quality products.
Vietnam has a comparative advantage with relatively low labor costs. I believe it would not be easy for the U.S. to find another supplier capable of meeting such demands. A review is needed to balance import and export tax rates between the two countries.
Vietnam's trade counselor in the U.S. advises that Vietnamese businesses should be more proactive in understanding U.S. tariff policies and trade protection measures. To sustain export growth, companies must stay updated on policy changes and adjust their production and export strategies accordingly.
Since the beginning of the year, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính has issued various solutions to address challenges and accelerate the development of social housing, working towards building at least 1 million social housing units by 2030. The Ministry of Construction is completing a draft resolution for a pilot program on social housing development, which will be submitted to the National Assembly for approval. The draft includes several new incentives for investors participating in social housing construction.
With the emergence of numerous industrial zones, real estate prices in Yanfang District, Bắc Ninh Province, have risen significantly in recent times. Even a small house now costs an average of 78,000 to 117,000 USD. As a result, social housing units, priced between 27,000 and over 39,000 USD, have attracted considerable attention and sold out quickly.
Buying a house has been quite challenging since housing prices in Bắc Ninh are already quite high. Thankfully, I found information about social housing here, which suits my income.
This company's social housing project took 5 years just to complete the investment procedures and obtain construction permits. The Ministry of Construction's proposal includes increasing investors' profit margin from 10% to a maximum of 13%. The ministry proposes directly assigning social housing projects to investors through decisions by competent authorities rather than the traditional bidding process. This change would eliminate the bidding stage, a process that typically takes 6 to 12 months.
We can cut the processing time by 50%, which will save investors significant costs.
In addition to the recent proposals from the Ministry of Construction, since the housing law took effect late last year, social housing incentives have expanded further. Individuals with monthly incomes between 430 USD and 596 USD can now purchase social housing, and the local residency requirement has been abolished.
Before we move on, let's have a look at the exchange rate between the Vietnam dong and some world currencies in today's market. Coming up next on VTV News. Ongoing riverbank erosion threatens central provinces. And Time magazine includes Ho Chi Minh City's metro line among the world's top 100 destinations. Welcome back to VTV News Live. Now moving on to other important updates. The Ministry of Home Affairs has completed a proposal to amend the law on cadres and civil servants, focusing on unifying public employee management across all levels from central government to local municipalities. The proposal aims to create a more integrated and efficient management system. Key reforms include introducing competitive examinations for civil servants to ensure better matching of skills with positions. These changes seek to move away from the lifetime civil servant model toward a more dynamic workforce where employees can be reassigned based on performance. The Central Highlands provinces are implementing extensive social welfare policies under the Sustainable Poverty Reduction Program. These include essential support for healthcare, education, and basic living conditions, helping improve the quality of life for ethnic communities. With these initiatives, multi-generational families can achieve long-term stability.
Her family struggled financially with 3 siblings still in school. A monthly allowance from the government provides crucial support, allowing her to continue her education. Over the past 3 years, millions of US dollars from the Poverty Reduction Program have improved schools' infrastructure, benefiting more than 60,500 students.
The school helps her with financial support, making it easier to stay in school without worrying about dropping out.
With government funding for poverty reduction, we now have better infrastructure. Teachers must work closely with parents and students to maximize those resources.
In Đắk Lắk, Hong has received free healthcare for years. Recently, electronic health insurance integration has made medical services even more accessible.
With my insurance card, I can get treatment at the local health center or provincial hospital without worrying about costs.
The authorities are committed to effectively implementing national policies to improve the well-being of ethnic communities.
While livelihood support helps raise incomes, substantial investment in social services through the National Poverty Reduction Programs are accelerating poverty alleviation in Đắk Nông. The province's poverty rate is declining by 2.7% annually, with poverty decreasing at an even faster rate of 6.81% per year.
Riverbank and coastal erosion has become a critical concern for residents in several central provinces. Rivers are increasingly encroaching on residential areas, while coastal erosion steadily claims public spaces and farmland, especially during the rainy season. Despite local authorities' construction of solid embankments for protection, erosion continues to advance unpredictably, most notably in Quảng Bình and Quảng Trị provinces.
The Vĩnh Định River flows through two districts in Quảng Trị province. In the past 5 years, erosion has expanded by 15 to 25 meters, destroying intervillage roads. Hundreds of households along the riverbanks live in constant fear.
Each year, erosion claims 2 to 5 meters of land. As of now, my house is only about 2 to 3 meters from the river. With 1 or 2 more floods, I may no longer be able to stay here.
The local government hopes to receive support from higher authorities to build embankments.
Quảng Bình province has 85 erosion sites extending across 40 kilometers of riverbanks and streams, affecting more than 3,000 households.
We are mobilizing resources to combat erosion by installing embankments and stone cages to protect residents' safety.
Riverbank erosion in these two provinces is advancing rapidly, averaging 10 to 15 meters per year. Though both provinces have constructed several embankments to combat the erosion, thousands of households remain at risk of displacement during rainy and stormy seasons. The worsening erosion along riverbanks continues to threaten residents' lives.
Ho Chi Minh City's Metro Line 1 connecting Bến Thành to Suối Tiên has been recognized as one of the world's top 100 destinations by Time magazine. It stands as the only Vietnamese entry on this prestigious list this year. Time praised the new metro line as a significant step forward in the city's public transportation system, offering visitors an effortless way to explore iconic locations like the Opera House and Nguyễn Huệ Walking Street. The metro line is poised to transform the city's landscapes, creating new opportunities for both locals and tourists. Now let's move over to Gia Lai province, where you can experience a unique ceremony, the Rain Praying Festival. This sacred ritual reflects the unique cultural identity of the Gia people and has been preserved and promoted through generations. So how does this meaningful ceremony unfold? Let's discover more in the following story.
Since early morning, many villagers have gathered at the foot of the sacred Chu Tao Yang mountain to prepare for the upcoming rain-praying ceremony. From the elderly to the young, men and women alike don their brightly colored traditional attire. The village council decorates the no tree and prepares offerings to present to the deities.
We pray for favorable rain, strength, good health, and prosperity for the people.
The Yang Patao Apui rain-praying ceremony is an important ritual preserved by the Girai people across generations. Held annually in April and May, the ceremony embodies the community's hopes for favorable weather, bountiful harvests, and prosperity. In the southeastern region of Gia Lai province, known as a fertile rice granary and closely tied to the legends of the Fire King and Water King,
this ritual actually works. Back in the day, when he prayed for rain, it actually rained. It was a source of great joy. With rain, we can survive. Without it, we cannot.
For rice farmers in the Central Highlands, water and farming tools are the two most crucial factors. Patao Apui plays a vital role in conveying human hopes and prayers, especially those of the Dry people, as their culture is deeply connected to nature.
As a national, intangible cultural heritage, the Yang Patao Apui rain praying ceremony is a testament to the preservation of traditional identity and stands as a unique cultural symbol of the Central Highlands.
Over 11,200 police officers were sent to support the Southern Battlefield from 1954 until April 30th, 1975. In the most difficult and intense areas, these officers overcame all challenges, fought courageously, and sacrificed heroically. The early and large-scale assistance of elite police officers from various professional fields helped strengthen security in southern Vietnam during the resistance against American imperialism, contributing to the ultimate victory and the liberation of the South, reunifying the country.
At the People's Public Security Museum, there is a letter written in blood entitled Voluntary Application for Combat Duty by a 23-year-old police officer. At 94 years old, Colonel Nguyen Ik Chung still vividly remembers those days. He and his comrades secretly cleaned up areas, dismantled the enemy's intelligence network, and protected the safety of party headquarters, revolutionary bases, and armed forces.
I visited every household. Within 2 months, we filtered out normal houses from those that can be used as our bases. Without the people, the police force could not complete this mission.
Colonel Nguyễn Huy Can is one of the thousands of armed police officers who answered the call to volunteer on the southern battlefield. Along with his team, he worked in local communities to eliminate evil and dangerous enemy forces and protect the people from harm.
Our job is to make sure the evil rulers and counter-revolutionaries can't put a hand on our people and destroy our base. The locals have loads of trust in us.
At just 20 years old, Hank, a cryptographic officer, was sent to the south to reinforce communication for the revolution. Cryptography officers were responsible for safely transmitting confidential messages to the Ministry of Public Security and ensuring the protection of intelligence documents.
As young soldiers, we knew that facing death in battle is unavoidable. As officials defending our country, we were prepared to die in the enemy hands. If the country was still at war, we would keep fighting. Sometimes our comrades were very sick, but they didn't leave.
Over 900 police officers died heroically. Many were captured, tortured, and imprisoned by the enemy. However, they remained steadfast across the battlefields, enduring hardships and sacrifices. Their hearts beat with a single will to give their youth for the day when the country would be unified. Their hearts beat with a single will to give their youth for the day when the country would be reunified.
Coming up next in our world news, European allies not united on armed deployment to Ukraine. Later on, Russia suggests temporary administration for Ukraine to end conflict. Now moving over to our world news, Europe was divided on the proposed deployment of an armed force to Ukraine at Thursday's summit in Paris. French President Macron indicated that Ukraine welcomes the British-French proposal. The two countries are spearheading efforts to establish a security force in Ukraine to prevent potential conflict after a ceasefire agreement is reached. Italy, Croatia, and the Czech Republic oppose sending troops to Ukraine. Some countries cited insufficient capacity, while others expressed reluctance due to political considerations. Currently, Europe is seeking U.S. support on this matter. However, President Macron cautioned that Europe should prepare for possible U.S. non-involvement. A British-French delegation will visit Ukraine in the coming days to discuss the troop deployment plan. Meanwhile, Russia has repeatedly opposed Europe's military deployment to Ukraine, warning that it would escalate the conflict. Moscow claims Europe is planning a military intervention disguised as a peacekeeping mission. Russian President Vladimir Putin has proposed a new solution, placing Ukraine's government under UN-led temporary administration. This administration would organize democratic elections to establish a legitimate government with public trust. The newly elected government would then conduct peace talks with Russia and sign internationally recognized agreements to ensure stability. Putin emphasized that this initiative could include participation from the U.S., European countries, and Russia's allies. The proposal emerges as U.S.-Russia bilateral talks continue and Europe seeks to expand its role in Ukraine's security. Ukraine and the West have not yet responded to the statement. Our newly delivered news: a strong earthquake struck central Myanmar on Friday and people rushed out of buildings in panic in Yangon and also in Bangkok, the capital of neighboring Thailand. The United States Geological Survey said the quake was of 7.7 magnitude and at a depth of 10 kilometers. It was followed by a powerful aftershock. The epicenter was about 17.2 kilometers from the city of Mandalay. There was no immediate word from Myanmar on damage. Witnesses contacted in Yangon said many people ran out from buildings in the city, the largest in the country. Witnesses in Bangkok, meanwhile, said people ran out onto the streets in panic, many of them hotel guests in bathrobes and swimming costumes. In Vietnam, the earthquake caused noticeable tremors in high-rise buildings in Hanoi, Hưng Yên, and Ho Chi Minh City. However, experts assess that the risk level of this earthquake in Vietnam is not significant. Clean air is vital for health, yet much of the world, particularly in low and middle-income countries, breathes polluted air. The new World Bank reports indicates that targeted policy actions could halve the number of people exposed to dangerously high levels of air pollution by 2040. More to follow.
The study estimates that outdoor air pollution kills roughly 5.7 million lives annually. In particular, 95% of deaths occur in low and middle-income countries. Outdoor air pollution is negatively impacting global GDP due to health impacts, lost productivity, and reduced life expectancy.
Too many people are breathing dirty air, especially in low and middle-income countries, and we estimate the economic costs of outdoor air pollution to be about 5% of global GDP. So urgent action is really needed now, and our new report shows that this is both possible and affordable.
The report, Accelerating Access to Clean Air on a Livable Planet, highlights how policy changes could reduce the number of people exposed to high levels of PM2.5, fine particulate matter measuring 2.5 micrometers or less in diameter.
The report focuses on three things: improving governance, improving the quality of the data, and supplementing public with private investment. And of course, we also need cooperation both within countries and between countries. In South Asia, we're supporting the adoption of common methods for monitoring air quality in the Indo-Gangetic Plain and the Himalayan foothills.
Globally, most outdoor air pollution stems from human activities. Policy changes across multiple sectors, including agriculture, urban development, transport, industry, and residential cooking and heating, can help reduce harmful particulate matter in the air. In some regions, desert dust also serves as a significant source of fine particulate matter.
Up next is the weather forecast. And that is all that we have for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can visit our website, our YouTube channel, or download a mobile app VTVgo for more. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.